it's quite common that you're going to want to work with text files going forwards. So I'm just going to make a couple of videos showing you how to both read from a text file and write data to a text file. So here we've got a simple text file with a couple of sentences in. So I'm going to show you how to loop through these sentence by sentence, word by word, or pull the whole file over as one block of data. So if I go to my main file, I would say by default, while you're starting, just make sure your text files are in the same directory as the Python file you're running, and then I'll show you how to work with files across directories later. So for now, you need to start by making a variable. So I'm going to call mine test file, and then you want to write equals open, and I want to open my file. So in speech marks, I write the name of the file with the extension. That's really important. And then a comma. And then after that, we're going to set our permissions. So we're going to open ours with R, which is read permissions. So then when we've done that, we could, let's write data. And we're going to load all of our file into there at the start. And I'll show you how to do something else with it. So data equals test file dot read. And then we can print out data. Now, I've left a gap because it's good practice to close the file when you're finished with it. So to close a file, you shouldn't just leave it open. So to close a file, you can just do testfile.close like that. So we open the file, we read the data and put it into a new variable. We close the file, and then we're going to print out the data. So when I run it, you can see it's printing out all of that data from the file. So that's nice and easy. However, you might want, for example, to, I don't know, go sentence by sentence. So another option is read line. So when I run it, that's just going to read one line. Effectively, it's going to read the next line. So if you ran it more than once, you wouldn't do it like this. I'll show you a better way in a minute, but just to show you it working. So data 1 read line means read the first line. Data 2 would be effectively reading the second line. So you can see it effectively, once it's read a line, the next time you use read line, it would read the next line. Hopefully, with what you know so far, you're probably thinking, is there not a way we can do this with a loop? Yeah, of course we can. So you could do for line in test file print line. So that's working just the same. Let's say we wanted, let's have data as a list at the top, and we want to load the lines into a list for use later. Maybe we're going to do some analysis on it line by line. So what we could do there is we could do data dot append line, and then when I print data at the end, you can see I've now got data.append, spelled append wrong, data.append, and now we've got hello and welcome to the test file. I'll explain this in a second. This is just for testing purposes. Good luck. So you've now witnessed the first of what we call the hidden characters. So \n is saying move on to a new line. So that exists here, but by default, this is hidden it. So there is a piece of data here that's hidden the computer stores, and it tells the computer to move on to the next line. When you start working with files, you might be pulling some of this data through because it technically does exist there. So the way you can do it is you can write .strip. So you remember .strip from before when I showed you how to get rid of the spaces before and the end of the sentences, but it also gets rid of these hidden characters. Okay, so if you ever need to, just use .strip on the end of something that might have a hidden character and it'll get rid of it. So I've now got my sentences stored as a separate part of this list, so I could print out just the first line, which is technically the second because it starts counting as 0, and I could access it, I could loop through, whatever. You need to think about how you want to store your data for access later. So something like this would be really common. I could loop through and say for word in line. So I've got the outside loop doing for each line in the file, the inner loop doing for each word in each line, and then I could append word. I might want to do dot strip there to get rid of the hidden character. So then if I print out data, I've got, that's looping through not each word, that's looping through each letter in the line, which is something completely different. What I might want to do here is do line.split that's worked. So if I do line.split, if you remember that when you give a string, I've gone through that split before, when you give a string over with spaces between the words, dot split will turn it into a list. So I'm then looping through that list and appending it to word. Okay, the other thing I could do, so that's each word is separated as a thing, but then I've lost the lines there. I can't tell, except for the full stop, I can't tell where each line ends. The other option I could do is I could do for, I don't even need to do for, I could do data dot append line dot split there. And what then I've got is I've got a 2D array where I've got each line in its own list separated by words in the outer list. So something like that would work for pretty much anything I might want. So what you've got to think is reading from a file is really easy. If you just want to read an output, .read is the right approach. If you want to do something with analysis of the data that's coming through, you might want to do something where you're thinking about how you want to store that data when you're pulling it over, and then make sure you're getting it in the right format for you as you're pulling it. So I've gone through multiple different ways here. So you've ended up seeing word by word, line by line. You've looked at a 2D array here. So you've got a 2D list here with each line being its own array within the outer array, separated by words. So think carefully about how you want to read the data. And remember, the very, very simple one is just saying data equals test file.read. So that's it in its most simple form, and that will just read it all, put it into data and print it out. You can even put numbers in here. So I could say, I won't go that high, I could say 10, and that will just read the first 10 characters. Okay, so you've got lots of options, but the key thing is open the file with read permissions, choose what you want to do and how you want to read the data, then close it.